Imagine being a German soldier during the World War II, constantly blinded and deafened by explosions and gunshots all around you. Planes and grenades are flying, and you are holding your position, scared for your life and probably high on meth, as German soldiers were those with it back then. Suddenly, you hear a very distinct sound. It's music, actually. Bagpipes. Why the fuck do I hear bagpipes on the battlefield? Is it just the meth psychosis? You think to yourself. Looking where the sound came from, you suddenly feel a very strong pain in the chest. Shortly before dying, you look down and realize there is an arrow sticking out of you. This exact situation I just described was the fate of hundreds of German and Italian soldiers in the World War II. But how? Who would bring a bow and bagpipes to a gunfight? You probably ask. Well, I will tell you. Meet John Malcolm Thorpe Fleming Churchill, better known as the Mad Jack. Born in 1906, Jack Churchill's life reads like a script from the most unbelievable action-adventure film ever conceived. If ever there was a man who embodied the phrase, marching to the beat of his own drum, or bagpipes in his case, it was Jack Churchill. In 1926, when Jack was just 20 years old, he graduated from the Royal Military College, Sandhurst, and served in Burma, where he realized he really enjoys riding a motorcycle, which will come into play later in the story. When he came back from Burma, there was no action in the military and Jack was slowly but surely getting bored, which reflected in his antics, never forgetting to shock and frustrate his higher-ups in any means necessary. He absolutely hated formalities, so naturally he completely disregarded them, bypassing standard reporting procedures, questioning orders, addressing seniors with cheeky familiarity, and submitting reports sprinkled with humorous comments were among his daily habits. One time he even brought an umbrella to a military formation. Yeah, this guy just did not give a fuck. When scolded about it by a superior, he responded with, "It's raining, sir." But all this foolery was simply not enough for his ever-bored mind. So he quit the army in 1936. He worked as a newspaper editor in Kenya, as a male model, and even landed some minor roles in some quite big movies at the time. It's also during this time that he picked up some of his old hobbies, bagpiping and archery. He placed second in the 1938 military bagpiping competition, and in 1939 he represented Great Britain on the World Archery Championship in Oslo, where he got 26th place. Sounds like he finally had a lot of fun. But the real fun was just coming. Ladies and gentlemen, I present you the World War II.
How dare you? War is terrible and certainly not fun.
Yeah, I know and I'm sorry, but for Jack this was still like being in heaven. He totally loved it. At the start of the war he was assigned to Manchester Regiment, which was sent to France. Here he could finally fulfill his desires of absolute wackery. He would lead many attacks, signaling his men to fight by raising his broadsword and charging into battle. And if it wasn't enough, he was also reportedly seen riding a motorcycle and shooting his longbow from it, while grenades and bullets were flying all around him. This guy literally had a plot armor. A notable example of his many successful missions happened in May 1940, when Churchill and some of his men ambushed a German patrol near
L'Épinette.
Later, when he was asked about his weaponry by a general, Churchill replied with, "Any officer who goes into action without his sword is improperly dressed." In 1941, Jack was sent to Norway as second in command of No. 3 Commando in Operation Archery, where he famously started playing March of the Cameron Men on his bagpipes before throwing a grenade and charging into battle. He earned a military cross there. Sorry, I just can't. I researched all of this and it still doesn't struggle to amaze me how this man managed to earn military prizes, climb the ranks, win important battles, and generally be an elite soldier despite his absolute unprofessionalism and total insanity. This man was a true main character. In 1943, Churchill, leading 2 Commando, was ordered to capture a German observation post outside the town of Molina, at which he naturally succeeded. How they did it? They charged from all sides, all screaming, "Commando!" which confused the German and made them think the force against them was much bigger than it actually was. They took 42 prisoners, including a mortar squad. As Churchill led his men back down the pass and German prisoners were carrying the wounded on carts, Churchill commented that it was an image from the Napoleonic Wars. He received a Distinguished Service Order for leading that action. But he was missing something. Something much more important. His sword. So he literally just walked back to the town alone to retrieve it. In 1944, he was ordered to raid the German-held island of Brač, which didn't go that well. Long story short, Jack was knocked out by a grenade and captured while playing Willie and O Come Back Again on his bagpipes as the last man standing. He was flown to Berlin for interrogation as Germans believed he might be one of Winston Churchill's relatives, which he wasn't. Later, Churchill was transferred to Sachsenhausen concentration camp along with some actual Winston Churchill's relatives, which he escaped by crawling under the barbed wire through an abandoned drain in September of 1944. He was captured on his way to Baltic coast and sent to another concentration camp. And guess what? Yes, he escaped from this one as well, taking advantage of the lighting system failing. He walked 240 kilometers, or 150 miles, through Alps, feeding of stolen crops, until he found a US armored column and was sent back to England. At the end of the war, Jack wanted to join the Pacific campaign, since the war in Europe was already over and Jack wanted to enjoy more of it, I guess. So he went to fight against the Japanese on Burma. But by the time he arrived, atomic bombs were dropped on Hiroshima and Nagasaki, and the Japanese surrendered. Mad Jack was mad. See what I did there? Okay, I'm sorry. Mad Jack was so mad that he said, "If it wasn't for those damn Yanks, we could have kept the war going for another 10 years. Churchill continued to serve in the army until 1959. When he retired with 2 awards of Distinguished Service Order. He passed away in 1996. But what an incredible life this guy lived. Somehow managing to find excitement in the worst times. Okay, for him those were probably the best times. Regardless if Jack was a fearless hero or just a crazy lunatic, we can all agree that he was one of the coolest and most badass people in human history. And I'm fucking furious there is no proper action movie about this man. Alright guys, I hope you enjoyed my little rant about this incredible person. If you did, don't forget to like and subscribe for more similar content. Also, if you want to help me grow this channel, share this video with your friends. And check out this video about the guy that flew a small plane through the Iron Curtain all the way to Moscow. Until next time, see ya.